Showa of House Fairgrove. She's human, but there's something more to her than meets the eye. She's level 13, and she's a sorceress of the Draconic bloodline. She appears to be in her early 20s. Her skin is fair, she has naturally rosy cheeks, and if you look closely, the faintest of freckles upon her complexion. She has straight golden blonde hair that goes midway down her back, typically pulled back into an elegant half updo, and she has eyes of sapphire. She stands at about 5 feet and 9 inches tall. She has a unique beauty that sets her apart from other humans, like how you might imagine a princess from a fairy tale. She is almost always wearing some shade of blue, her favorite being the color of the sky. In her past, in formal settings, she might be seen in simple, elegant gowns that go down to her ankles. Nowadays, she might be seen wearing a sleeveless, knee-length dress, dark blue in the front, and a design of silver dragon scales adorning the back. She wears a necklace with a golden sun pendant gifted to her by Dancer. In the western part of the world of Orrian, within the continent of Ura, lies the seaside kingdom of Castella. To the people of my country, I am known as Princess Sonia of Fairgrove, firstborn child to the human king Adam and his elven queen Hessa, born in the palace by the ocean. Naturally, I was heir to the throne. Up until then, House Fairgrove was known to be purely of human lineage, so I would be first of my known family line to be of mixed blood. However, there's something that the people of my kingdom do not know. My name, my real name, is Showa. It was what my mother named me in a letter when I was left at the doorstep of the palace as an infant. Within that letter, I was intended to be raised by my father, who did not know of my existence. But when I arrived, he was not at the palace and hadn't been for quite some time. All I know is that he had left the palace and he hadn't been heard from since. He and my uncle are twins, so, as the eldest, he was in line to be the next king after my grandfather. But, according to my uncle, my father passed on the position to him instead, right before he left. And so, my dear Uncle Adam raised me as his own, alongside his wife, my aunt, Queen Hessa. They went on to have 2 sons, my cousins Marlin and Reese. To the public eye, I was the king and queen's daughter, the eldest of 2 brothers. This story was for my protection, and to secure my place as heir to the throne, as would be the assumed order of things. And yet, I knew very early on that I did not want that life. What with countless hours of lessons and studies, any and everything I could ever need to know to be a decent queen. As the, firstborn, I knew that I had an obligation to the people of my kingdom, but even if I knew everything I needed to and had the confidence, I knew that I would still never be truly fit to rule. Not when I felt this strong sense that my path was leading me elsewhere. Everyone knows the stories. There's always a dragon, a castle, a princess. She's usually locked high up in a tower somewhere, waiting to be saved by a brave hero who would vanquish the evil creature guarding her. But in my story, things are a little bit different. I am the princess, but there's some part of me that is connected to dragons. With a human father and a mother of mysterious origin, I still have yet to know what I am. But I always knew I was different. The first hint of this was when my powers awoke. I was just 17 years old when I met someone, A young man, handsome, charming. He was in the militia. We met every day for weeks on end, grew closer. I thought maybe, just maybe, he would one day become my prince. But I was wrong. One night, at a ball, I was led into the palace garden when no one was around, but what was meant to be a wonderful evening quickly turned into a nightmare. He hurt me. But before much more could happen, something coursed through my veins, and with a bolt of lightning, everything changed. But with this, there was also a cost. Something in me was forever different. After that, with the help of my family and the palace wizard, I switched course with my ambitions, training my newfound powers to get better, to get stronger. And not long after that, I felt a pull towards Orrian to join one of the most prestigious guilds. On a ship ride there, I met my first real friend. His name is Tuolin. He decided to also join the guild, and I was very glad as I wouldn't be alone. He also helped me learn how to tame the nightmares I had, although I think we helped each other in the end. After much success and growth in the guild over the years, there was one day a request for members to join a party to fetch a missing artifact. From the very start, the mission proved dangerous and even more horrific than anything I've ever encountered. It was there that I witnessed terrifying things. And then the mission turned into something even bigger. Some of our party left, while others took their place, and we ended up in the realm of Barovia. There, we faced even more terrors, and it's also where that change within me from before became more prevalent. My mind was split into two, and another side of me came to the forefront. When something became too much to bear, she would emerge. She called herself by my princess name, Sonia. She was cold and harsh to the other members of the party. But her goal was to protect me at any cost. Eventually, we were able to merge together with the help of some magic, and I am now myself. I'm still learning how to be me, as it's been years since the last time I was, well, me. Even though Barovia was a layer of hell in itself, I have since been traveling with two people who have become very important to me. Sweet Chamomile, who has dubbed herself as mine and everyone else's grandmother. I never had a grandmother I knew, so it's been wonderful to find that in her. And then Dancer. For a long while now, he has been special to me. I had written him a confession in Barovia that I hadn't intended for him to ever read. But he found it, and, well, he's still uncertain of his feelings. But I will wait, no matter how long it takes. Along the journey, we met with Tuolin and his companion from the guild, Zerodius. And after returning home with everyone to visit my family, it was discovered that Tuolin was my long-lost twin brother. After that, Tuolin and Zerodius went on a journey with promises to return soon. And so Dancer, Chamomile, and I have been making the most of our time together, seeing the world, and they've been with me through many changes. Even just recently, when I made a very important decision, stepping down from my position as heir to the throne. Now, I am free to roam as I please, and to see where my path continues to lead me.
Dancer is a level 13 blade-singing wizard. He's a tiefling who looks to be in his mid-20s. He has dark gray skin, bright aqua eyes, and collarbone-length jet black hair that is primarily worn half up. In his black leather ankle boots, he stands right around 6 feet tall. His body is lean, but athletic. thanks to the many years working at sea. Very dark gray horns sit close to his head, gently curving up and back. The pointy ends are adorned with gold horn caps. Dancer's nails and canine teeth are long and sharp. His tail ends in an elongated spade. The tiefling is handsome, there's no doubt about that, but when describing Dancer, one might define him first as beautiful. Must be the thick, silky hair, perfectly defined eyebrows, long eyelashes, turned up nose, and strong yet narrow jawline. Upon first meeting, Dancer may come across as judgmental or intimidating as he studies you with that half-lidded gaze. But once that bright smile emerges and conversations can be had, all misconceptions fall to the wayside as you see him for what he truly is, an endlessly curious and intuitive mind. If it were up to him, Dancer would spend his downtime not restricted by clothing. He'd love nothing more than to run around in swim shorts, soaking in the sun and the heat, feeling the wind on his skin. But when necessity calls, he is guaranteed to wear black, straight-legged, high-rise trousers with some kind of flowy top tucked into them. He enjoys wearing jewel tones or black, patterned with different florals and acanthuses in silver and gold. Whatever top he chooses to throw on that day, no button shall ever be fastened nor drawstring pulled tight. He prefers to let it all hang loose. Unless, of course, he is to attend a formal event. In that case, he will present himself in a way that will not offend the hosts, reveling in the opportunity to get dressed up and have a dance. Dancer's pointed ears are full of gold rings and studs. His right eyebrow and right nostril are both pierced and decorated with a gold barbell and gold ring, respectively. An anchor and chain tattoo with the words Damascus Trading Company sits upon his left wrist, and upon his left deltoid is the wheel of a ship with a compass inside surrounded by a corona. Tidebreaker is written upon a scroll at its base. Around his neck, Dancer always wears a gold sunburst with a small purple crystal at its center. Identical necklaces were given to both Showa and Chamomile, as Dancer had them made for all of his old party members after their adventures in the land of Barovia. The sunburst is the symbol of the Lifebringer, to whom Dancer follows. At his belt, the wizard carries a gold rapier, given to him by his mentor, Tavel. My name is Dancer, and I come from Adrazan, a tiefling nation in the western half of Ibian. Although I have not been back there in quite some time, I still think it is one of the most beautiful places on Orrian. Red stone, red sand, crystal blue waters, palm trees, deserts, soaring mountains from north to south. A rich and manicured capital city where life and luxury combine. In Adrazan, I was once part of a well-off family of merchant sailors. But I left that life long ago, and for most of the time since, I've been a sailor of my own, working aboard a charter ship as the navigator. My mentor and friend, Tavel Rainsong, left Adrazan with me to work on the ship. And through all that, continued to help me grow as a wizard and as a man. Life was finally going well for me. I had made friends for the first time in my life. I met a girl. I saw so many new places, tried so many new things. But then, tragedy struck. There was a terrible storm at sea, and an attack by a group of Marrow. And Tavel was lost overboard. In the blink of an eye, my life was changed. My teacher, my tutor, my guide, the one person who had stuck with me and supported me, whom I loved and respected, was gone. Without Tavel, I felt so lost. I had to figure out how to navigate without him, something I hadn't done since I was young. Though I grieved for some time, I held out hope that he was still out there somewhere. Slowly, very slowly, things got better. Life continued on, somehow. Then suddenly years had gone by without him. Things were going well enough, and then they weren't, but through it all I started to feel a call elsewhere. Perhaps there was another adventure out there for me. Perhaps Tavel was waiting for rescue over the next horizon. Or maybe there was a new group of people I'd run into that would welcome me in with open arms. A place I could belong. Maybe there was a spot in Orrian where I could get away from the heartache I was feeling. So I made the decision to leave my crew. I travelled alone through Groth, then eventually settled in Orenstead where I joined a guild, run by Papalo and Korabon Chehuvel. I had no intentions to stay, as I had my sights set on visiting Tavel's guild down in Edensgate, but I did a few jobs for them and proved myself useful. That allowed me to take part in a much bigger job, to investigate Strahd von Zarovich in the land of Barovia. It was through that job that I met my companions, Shoah, Chamomile, Lysandra, and Dragos. Barovia was a month-long catastrophe, one that I don't really want to get into right now. So all I'll say is, we emerged victorious, all coming out far stronger than when we started, and all changed. I learned so many new spells. I grew closer to my guildmates. I realized I shouldn't immediately fireball everything in sight. And we discovered that Tavel, who I'd been searching for, was alive. Through a series of circumstances, we reunited. And come to find out, after the attack at sea, he had been miraculously saved by a traveling island of tortles. I know that sounds strange. It's a long story. After Barovia, Tavel was finally able to return to his people. Shoah, Chamomile, and I decided to stick together as a group and live life unmolested by vampires and werewolves for 3 glorious months. Our travels led us through southern Orenstead, where we met up with fellow guild members Tuwolin and Zerodius. And eventually we all got ourselves to Shoah's home country of the Castella coast. More time passed. We said goodbye to the boys as they were off on their own adventure. And then Shoah, Chamomile, and I teleported to Port Ames in hopes of meeting up with an old crew member of mine and retrieving some items that I left with her. Things I couldn't take on the road. We met with her and learned that, what do you know, my crew was in town at a pub. So we visited with them and it was all jolly and wonderful. So good to see everyone. Well, we are now in the outskirts of Port Ames at a lovely little inn, looking forward to our next big adventure.
Chamomile Paddlefoot, often nicknamed Cammy or Grandma or Grandmother, is a level 13 Twilight Domain cleric. She is a tortle, and she looks obscenely old. Cammy has leathery, wrinkled, dark green skin. It's weathered from time and covered in scales and little patches of moss or lichen. She has no hair, only a single, large alfalfa sprout that grows from a patch of moss on the top of her head. Her eyes are lavender, full of wisdom and a soft, radiant energy. They often appear squinted and wrinkled from age. The top of her head rests at about 5 foot 6 inches, or about 167 centimeters, and a little taller if including her shell. Her body and limbs are stout and heavy. What she lacks in speed, she makes up for in strength. Her neck curves down out of her wide shell and back up in a gentle U shape, giving her a hunched appearance. Cammie's shell not only acts as her home when she tucks inside to sleep, it also stores many items that are important to her work as a cleric and her passion for magical tea. It's large and bulky, and besides already being a great defense mechanism, the scutes on the back of her carapace are completely covered in massive columns of sharp amethyst crystal. They jut out like the surface of a morning star and slowly grew upon her shell over time. Some pieces are cracked or broken, and they give off a soft lavender glow. Now, she typically doesn't wear any clothes beyond a blue, gem-encrusted bow tie she obtained in previous travels, but will dress up for special occasions in colorful draping fabrics.
Hello, my name is Chamomile Paddlefoot. I was born and raised in a sprawling community of tortles, nestled at the base of the Grey Ridge Mountains in present-day Greymore, on the continent of Eos. My people, known as the Undorme, stewarded what was once the greatest temple of my goddess, Soluna. We lived deep in the forests, as well as underground, in a stunning series of crystal caves just below the surface. I trained to be a Selûnite cleric, and with time I became head of the order. I got married and had a family. Life was good. Years passed. I was a village elder, a keeper of stories and history, and I watched my loved ones age around me. Over many generations, things changed. As young cities developed, many families moved east for better farming and trading. Then, a terrible storm, unlike anything I'd ever seen, brought great destruction to our home. Nearly everything was lost. With the caves flooded and our monuments crumbling, I implored the remaining groups to flee. They were adamant that I join them in the exodus, but I refused and stayed to preserve what little history was left of the Undorme tortles. In truth, I wasn't quite ready to leave the graves of my family behind. I never saw my people again. I spent many years alone in the forest. What was once a civilization so grand became ruins, a whisper of the ancient past. As nature reclaimed the land, so too had it reclaimed my body and mind. Crystals grew from my shell. I grew bitter and angry at Soluna for everything that had happened. When the ache in my soul became too great, I hurled myself off a cliff. Do not fret, child. This story is not all bad. For you see, a miracle happened. A golden guardian spirit of Soluna, a Kirin named Anor, saved me and urged me to live. My story was not over. With his guidance, I left Greymore and sought a new purpose. I still felt reckless, and like it was my last hurrah, in a way, before the end. But life kept surprising me. I joined a guild, and went on a mission with new friends and guildmates, Showa, Dancer, Lysandra, and Dragos. We got trapped in Barovia, the realm of this crusty vampire lord, Strahd von Zarovich. Long story short, we beat him to a pulp. Oh, great moon maiden, may he never rise again. After saving Orrian from an invasion of the undead, I continued my travels with Showa and Dancer, and unofficially adopted them as my grandchildren. 3 months flew by, and we joined Shoa's friend Tualin and his friend Zeratius in Arisa Isles, before venturing to Shoa's home in Castella. Can you believe we fought a giant sea serpent on the way over? What a whirlwind! We made it in one piece, and some days later, Tualin and Zeratius left on a journey of their own. Shoa, Dancer, and I spent time in Castella and eventually traveled to Port Ames, where we met Dancer's old sailing crew. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens next.